Good morning, Justin. How you doing?
I'm well. How are you, Jeff?
I'm okay. Can you give us an evaluation of sort of how the first 3 weeks of spring have gone? Maybe some specifics of things you're real pleased with, and then what you'd like to achieve here this final week.
Yeah.
What you think are the priorities going forward?
Always, we came out of the gate real fast. I thought the speed at practice was evident. There's very competitive position groups because of, I mean, like we talked about early on, there's not a lot of incumbent starters on the team right now, and we have high expectations for how we're going to play. But I thought the competitiveness in the position groups has been evident. Each week's been, a step forward, which is exactly what you're looking for, and that's what we're looking for this week. Each guy getting a little bit better, and each unit playing, the details of the game and the consistency of play continuing to improve. And when one side of the ball wins a play, that it's an earned play, not a bust because the defense or the offense made a critical error. It's just an earned play. So that's what we're looking for.
Is there a position group or two that you're most encouraged by, and one that you feel like you've got more paddling ahead?
I think offensively, the quarterback room's taken a step each and every week. That's been pretty obvious. I think the receiver group, same thing. A lot of guys in there that can help us. And I think those guys Burrow's done a great job recruiting and then developing those guys. Even though they don't have as many reps under their belt, there's some real talented guys in that group. Tight end, same thing. I think Jermaine Terry's made a big jump this offseason. Even when you watch him out there at practice, the way he's moving, running, catching, blocking, all of it. Really excited about him. The O-line is thin right now, and we still need to continue to make headway there. There's a couple guys that have been out, unfortunately. But with Sindo, he's had a great spring. Ben Coleman is a very good player, no doubt about it. I think some of those younger guys have absolutely gotten better, Bastion being one of them. So I think we're going to continue to push that group. And, there's room that we may add a name in there or two as we move through spring and summer. So we'll see where that goes. Defensively, I think the interior D-line, same thing, kind of like the receivers, younger guys, not as many reps in the games under their belt, but very talented, very, very talented. Inside linebacker, same thing, some more veterans in that group. And then I think the secondary, the outside backers and the secondary, it's still, kind of we'll see where that all goes. We feel there's some guys like Braxton who's helped us quite a bit playing. I think we know that Xavier Carlton's going to help us up in that defensive front. And then the other side, Miles Jernigan, Oren, those guys have certainly gotten better. But we'll see how that competition moves throughout summer and fall. And then same thing in the half the secondary. We got Lou and Daniel, know kind of what they're all about. They played quite a bit, but really encouraged about the way some of those safeties have stepped up. Ray and Miles and Hunter, DeJuan Butler and Fatu at nickel. A lot of growth this spring, and got to continue to push them through summer and fall.
Thank you.
Okay, we'll go to Jim McGill. Go ahead, Jim.
Justin, can you talk a little bit about special teams? It looks like sort of a different style out there this year with a coach by committee. Can you talk about who covers what and what kind of progress you've seen so far?
Yep. Yeah, so we broke it up. And everybody's involved with special teams. It's just, there's a given position coach that's essentially the head coach of that unit. And I've been a part of staffs where we've done it that way in the past. And I think it's best for our staff makeup. So Aristotle Thompson, who's had punt team before, is running the punt team. And we've made a couple adjustments there. And again, all of us help out, but Aristotle's leading that group. Vic Soto, kickoff. And let's see here, the defensive back group. So Trey and Terrence are handling PBR and our punt return unit. And then Burl is handling kickoff return. And we've gotten work in all those areas. Angus runs the score team, our PAT field goal. And then Coach Browning heads up the PAT field goal block. So that's how we do it. We've got really good work in all those throughout spring, and we'll keep doing that this week.
Seems like it allows for some real specialized coaching rather than just a general overall session where everyone's going at once. It seems pretty beneficial so far.
Yeah, it's been great. And there's no right or wrong way to do it. There's different ways that people handle special teams throughout the country. And this is how we're doing it this year. It's best for our team. It's best for our staff. And it's allowed us to add another coach in the defensive back room, which has been very beneficial. So, yeah, it's good.
Going back to offensive line, you mentioned a little bit of injuries. Bastian's missed a couple of practices. It looked like he was back pretty mobile today on the one-on-one drills and looking good. But overall, the offensive line seems to have had less injuries this spring than typical. Have you been pretty pleased with how healthy they've stayed?
Yeah, to be able to kind of get our way through with a little bit lower numbers at O-line, to be able to finish spring like we have has been, really good. Because if a guy or two went down for a long period of time in that group, it'd have been harder to practice. So Bastian was back out there today battling. He's got a lot better. Ender Aguilar, this past week, I think we mentioned it on Saturday, made a big jump. And it's because they're getting a lot of repetitions. They're getting a lot of practice. So that's a good thing.
And Everett seems a little lighter and more nimble than he has in past seasons. Has he kind of reworked his body a little bit?
Yep. And that all starts in the off season and with Coach Johnson and his group. But Everett's, again, a young player and really growing each and every day. And he had a couple really nice plays today. So, those guys just need, they need repetitions. And the good thing is they're getting them.
We saw McCade Matauer come in and play as a true freshman a couple of years ago on the offensive line, which is pretty unusual. What does it take for maybe one of these new freshmen to come in and get in the rotation or maybe even challenge the start?
Yep. We've had that happen a few times. Mike Safell was essentially the same thing when he got here, and Will Craig played a lot as a freshman, McCade. So we've had quite a few guys play on offensive line as freshmen. It's ability, it's mentality, and then it's, the learning the position and the speed of the game as fast as possible. And there's, you can project you take your guesses on who might be ready compared to others, but ultimately you never know until they get here and, work with Coach Angus and Coach Musgrave and get in the offense and practice. So we'll see.
Thanks.
Sorry about that, guys. We'll go back to Jeff Ferrato.
Justin, can you talk a little bit more in depth about what Braxton Crotto is doing this spring, how he's changed, if he's changed or improved, and kind of what you expect from him?
Yeah, Braxton's just such a solid guy. He's been playing for us for a long time. You always know what you're going to get with Brax. Every single day, meetings, how he brings it in walkthroughs and practice. He's got incredible focus. He's a very tough guy. I think he's improving in his some of the coverage things that we've asked him to do. But in terms of setting edges, playing the run, playing 6 technique, playing 9 technique against the run, Brax is really solid, and he's improving in his coverage. And I still know he's getting better in pass rush. But he's extremely competitive, tough, smart guy. Doesn't say a lot, but you always know what you're going to get.
I think I read that he's a pretty serious weightlifter. What's he like in terms of that stuff?
Brax is pretty serious about everything. Have you had a chance to talk to him? Brax is a serious guy, and he's got a great personality, but he's not the most vocal guy out there. It's funny you bring this up because we were just talking about that this morning, right? Prior to our team meeting, I was asking if anybody's ever told him to talk less or asked him to quiet down, because I don't know if that's ever happened. But he's a very serious guy in the weight room. He brings it. Again, everything that guy does, whether it's weights, meetings, practice, school, he is going to give everything he's got. That's just how he's wired.
And I understand that he has a special skill. He's something of a magician. Tell me your experiences with that.
Well, we had Magic Mondays a couple of years ago, and Braxton would do a magic trick. He's good. He's legit magician. So
what's he done that impresses you?
What's that?
What sorts of things has he done to impress you?
Well, you mean in terms of his
yes,
magic?
Absolutely. Right.
Well, all of his tricks. You got to him do one. You could do it on Zoom or do it in person. Just give him he's got, it's not just one. He's got an array of magic tricks and quite the entertainer. And he's got the setup down. It's not just, he can kind of talk you into it, and he knows what he's doing. he's the kind of guy, like, you don't want to play Braxton in pool because he's going to come off as kind of real steady and even, and all of a sudden now he's, taking you for all you got. I mean, he's a calculated fella.
And on your Magic Mondays, that was to showcase him?
Yeah, well, I think we did it in fall camp when he first got here. Somehow it got out to either the position group or something, and then it, of course, that made way to the team meeting, and we had some good magic tricks. But yeah, I think for a while there he was working on a few new ones, but yeah, maybe you can get him to do it on Zoom, or it's better in person. If I were you, wait till you see him in person and have him get you on and videotape it. So
yeah, magic on TV, always
not
kind
the
of
same.
Yeah, not the same. Thank you.
Yeah.
All right, Jim, I'm not sure how you're going to up that one, but go ahead, Jim.
I'm not even going to try.
Yeah.
How's DeCarlos Brooks with his magic game?
DeCarlos had a couple of really good runs today. We'd like to see DeCarlos magically split the defense and, hit one from about 50 or 60 out because he's got the wheels to do it. But he had a good day today.
Can you talk about his growth as a player? He got a little dinged up and fall and kind of got behind it, looked like a little bit. But when he had his chance 7 or 8 times last year, he carried well. Is he carrying that forward this spring?
He is. He's had some injuries since he's been here, unfortunately. And last year, just when that happens, it's nobody's fault. But when you get those limited opportunities, you can't practice. It's hard to get better. So he was able to come back, get healthy, and then through practice really earn his reps in the game. And he made some really good runs for us. And we would, I think he's on schedule to continue to grow his role, but it's all through performance and practice. And he did that today.
Thanks.
Okay, Jeff, looks like you have another one. Go ahead, Jeff.
Yeah, the question we have to ask you every time is progress at quarterback in terms of you figured out who's number one. It sounded like on Saturday there wasn't much to choose between them. They were both pretty even. At least that's what I saw, what I read. What was your evaluation, and are you getting closer to choosing a starter, or is that not something you're concerned about still?
Not really concerned with it right now. Just again, both those guys have made significant steps throughout spring, and as the other guys have it, there's a certain amount of reps, and we want to make sure and give everybody, a good, fair evaluation. But both Jack and Kai have, whether it's comfort in the offense, command, the different throws, they both can throw the ball quickly and get it on the perimeter, slants and hitches, bubbles. They get it out of their hand quickly, the intermediate breaking and out breaking routes. And then we've hit more balls down the field this spring than I can remember. And those guys are doing a great job putting it in places where the big wideouts can go get it. We had, there was, I think, 3 today that were really well placed and tough to defend. And so that's good. But, again, in terms of naming a starter, not really on the list right now. We're focused on those guys getting better and comfortable in the offense, and when it's time, we'll make the announcement.
And some of that capability of the deep ball, I presume, relates to the receivers you have too, right?
Sure. I mean, it's everything. It's the O-line, it's the backs and tight ends, and it's the wideouts. Is being able to either set it up with play action or be able to protect it on drop back. Everybody plays a role in that, and we're looking forward to continuing to grow that part of our offense, creating more explosive plays.
Sounds like you would be comfortable if the situation calls for it to wait until fall to fall camp to decide a starter.
Yeah, I think it's not really something we have on our calendar. We mentioned this way back where we need to make an announcement at a certain date. I don't think that's really helpful to anybody. We're concerned with those guys continuing to get better and improve. That room has worked extremely hard. They got the respect of their teammates. Those guys do. So we will be confident moving forward at that position, and rightfully so. But we just want to keep getting better. We got another week of spring ball to continue to iron some things out at that position and everywhere else.